Ray and Darlene, happy birthday, John. 80 years is a great accomplishment, and we commend you. Please be careful when you blow out the candles on your cake. It could be a fire hazard. Some of the earliest memories I have of our life on 100th Avenue is flying kites. I remember you built a large box kite and flew it up with a pretty husky string. Then you made a smaller secondary kite that hung down from the box kite string with wheels and its own collapsible kite surface. The second kite would be blown up the box kite string by the wind until it hit a trip device that collapsed the second kite and would then return back to the ground on its wheels, rolling on the box kite string. I read that correctly? Pretty amazing operation.
Do you remember that, Dad?
Sounds like landing gear.
You would even put a flashlight in the box kite when we flew it at night so we could keep track of where the wind was taking it.
Wow. That's cool.
Another memory is the garden golf course that we would make each summer in the pasture behind the house. We would cut the pasture grass down to make fairways and to make the greens at each hole. Sometimes we would use golf clubs, sometimes just throw the ball. Maybe this is where the current Frisbee golf craze started. I don't remember any help with that. Yeah. Sounded like you had a lot bigger crew with that golf course than the one I was forced to play on. Of course, we didn't always engage in legal activities. Remember climbing the 100th Avenue water tower? This was before it was decorated with so much communication gear, but it was still marked no trespassing, and we knew we weren't supposed to be there. But all we had to do was climb over the chain link fence and its barbed wire top, and we had access to the ladder on the top. This is where the 100th Avenue Walker legend of someone standing on his head atop the water tower came from.
Was that Ray?
Or Dad?
Was it Dad?
I don't know.
It's Dad.
It's Dad.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yikes.
We both attended Russellville grade school, and when it came time to go to high school, our district did not have a high school before David Douglas was built. We had the option of riding the school bus to Gresham High School, or we could go to any other high school with tuition paid by David Douglas District, but we had to arrange our own transportation. Since our dad worked downtown at the SP&S Railroad, we could ride to school with him and then take the blue Gresham bus back home after school. Our dad had attended Benson, and I suppose that had something to do with you selecting Benson. You graduated from Benson in 1952 and went to OSC to study engineering. And I graduated from grade school in 1952 and followed you to Benson. Then when you graduated from OSC in 1956 with an EE degree, I graduated from Benson and chose to follow you again and enrolled at OSC. I chose to follow you also in the selection of engineering at OSC, and 4 years later graduated from OSC with an EE degree. Last class to graduate from OSC before becoming OSU.
Interesting, yes.
You married Sandra in 1955, and I married Darlene in 1960. We began raising families but lived far apart geographically, but you kept in touch in a very unique way. You made it a practice to go to the railroad damaged goods sales and bid on items you could use. Only one problem. You normally had to buy a whole lot of an item. That didn't slow you down, and once you were the successful bidder on some sleds, lots of them. You gave us one and assumed you distributed others to family members also. The last time I saw the sled you gave us, it was pulling Nolan Russell down Kimball Court during the heavy snow of 2008. I remember the Silver Thaw that you bought those sleds on, and it was the greatest sledding ever in the history of Portland. That was a well-timed.
It was. It was kind of in the wintertime, but you never know what the weather's going to be 3 or 4 days afterwards. But I got those sleds and passed around. Boy, did everybody like to use them.
So, George, were you about 6th, 7th grade then? Because I wanted to say I was 5th or 6th.
Yeah, I was a little bit, maybe 8th grade.
8th, okay.
Yeah. 7th or 8th,
you remember
yeah.
That's when we were going down double steps. You might have been too little.
Man, that was the greatest sledding though, because there was a Silver Thaw, and man, you just even the slightest incline, you could just rock it down.
We went over to the house next door, heading south, because then it was a straight shot all the way down to the street and up the next drive. It was fabulous.
Yeah, that was a well-timed purchase. Let's see here. You employed a practical joke of calling our place, and if Darlene answered, pretending you were the delivery man on your way to deliver the ladder we had ordered, wanting to know if we would be home to accept delivery. Only one problem, we didn't order a ladder. After some argle-bargle, we would realize it was you calling. However, I know you did this on at least 3 other occasions, and finally on the 3rd try, we realized it was you before too much conversation.
That was a fun little story. On the telephone, I called up to talk to Ray. Of course, he wasn't there. Darlene answered, "Yes, hello. Well, this is the ladder store, and where would you like your ladders delivered and where?" And, well, I'll have to talk to my husband. Well, I have them in the car now. Where can I put them?
Poor Darlene.
We still laugh together.
When Lori arrived, she was born on your birthday, January 19th. She was always pleased to have a birthday uncle, but not always pleased to have her picture taken. 2 good times were in 1972 when she was 2 and you were 37, and in 1973 when she was 3 and you were 38. But in 1974, we came to your Australian trip slideshow presentation. We took a picture after the long slideshow, but Lori was tired and in no mood for a picture. Notice the time on the clock in the background. We'll have to pass these around here. But anyway.
Oh, that's the same thing as the Lori pictures.
Benson has an annual tech show each spring, and we attended together in 1976. The only time I have been back since graduating in 1956. During that weekend, we stayed at your home on 51st, and your kids took our girls to church at the Lincoln Street Church near your home. The 1976 picture shows them returning. Debbie with the twins and Rob trailing Lori.
It's got a good memory. I don't remember it.
And I don't remember the
We've got
pictures.
photos. You came to the Tri-Cities hydroplane races in 1973 and stayed with us in Kennewick. See picture. We all went to the races on the Columbia River and enjoyed watching the race of the big boats while the teenage boys walked up our vantage point and enjoyed watching Debbie. We took our girls to the Oregon beach each year for a few days, and in 1976 we stopped by and had a visit with our Portland families. The 1976 picture of 5 walkers was taken then in front of Jim and Judy's house. Actually, that's not correct.
What was it?
That was 1892.
Let me see the picture. 1892?
You can just
1882.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I already looked at the pictures.
1992?
18?
Address was they
Oh, so I meant the year.
Oh,
It was still
I
1976.
wondered how he could do the year
We got
off the
over the
top of
cover
We
his
got,
head.
we got more pictures. Might as well keep going on that. Where are we here? Jim and Judy's house. When we moved to Salt Lake City, you came to visit us with the Warners. See picture. As I recall, the Portland area had been cloudy for too long and you wanted to get out where the sun was shining. We enjoyed visiting with you and Sandra and with Don and Kay. On this 80th birthday occasion, Darlene and I send our best birthday wishes as we remember our good times during these years. 7 attachments.
7 attachments?
Pictures.
Wow.